Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In this video, we are going to learn about Python tuple. What is tuple and why we use it and all those things we are going to learn in this video. In our last video, we have seen what is Python list. I hope you got this whole concept of Python lists clear in your mind, right? And if you have any questions or if you have any doubts, please watch this video once again, right? Before you continue with Python tuples, because there are so many concepts that will coincide with the concepts that we have learned in lists. Okay, so I hope you have understood lists. So let's go ahead and understand tuple. See, tuple is also one of the data type that we have discussed in our fifth chapter. As you can see here, this is the tuple, right? So what is the category of this data type? Category is sequenced category, sequence type category, and this is a data type which is used to store multiple data, right? Just like in other programming languages, we use arrays. In Python, we have different 4 data types like list, tuple, and sets and dictionary, right? So those things, we don't have array in Python. So we have these 4 data types in place of array. So tuple is also a data type which is used to store multiple data. And the syntax that we use here is round brackets, right? And tuples are ordered, non-changeable, and it allows duplicate values in itself. Everything is same, just like list, but the difference that you need to note it down is, first thing is we use round bracket syntax, and instead of brackets, instead of just square brackets, we use round brackets. And then the list is changeable, right? So but tuple is non-changeable. So what exactly do I mean by non-changeable and order? All those things we are going to see further, right? Okay, so I have written down this some bullet points, so that we'll be explaining, or we'll be going through all these concepts one by one. Once we reach from here to here, you'll be in a position to understand and work with Python tuple very easily. So first thing is, Python tuples are ordered. So what exactly is this ordered means? In the sense, let's say how to write a Python tuple. First thing is that we need to see how to write a Python tuples. So let's say I create a special variable called as names. Okay, so this is a variable called as names, but if I write it inside round brackets, and just like list, we can store multiple names, right? So what are the multiple names? Let me write some dummy names: Rakesh, Ritesh, Raj, Ramesh, right? So the list can go on, but this is an example of how a tuple is created. So how do you identify whether it is a tuple or not? I can say, you don't have to go with my word. You just don't have to believe what am I saying, right? So you need to ask Python whether it is a tuple or not. So how to check whether it is a tuple or not? So we have this method, function, or what you can say is function, to identify the type of a variable, right? So this type of names, right? Let me just pass this names variable inside this. It is not variable exactly, variable in the sense it is a special variable which we call it as a tuple, right? So this tuple can be passed inside this, but right now we are in doubt, right, whether it is a tuple or not. So just that's the reason I am calling it as variable, but technically we need to call it as tuple. So as soon as we use this function called as type and pass this argument called as names, this Python will verify whether it is, what is the type of this data type, what is the data type of this particular variable. So in order to, right now what happened, if I save it, Python knows, Python understands what is the data type of this particular variable, but we don't know, right? So for that, what we need to do, we need to print it out. We need to print out the output so that we can understand. So I use this print function, and I'll pass this complete argument inside this print function. So now Python will tell me, it will analyze and then it will tell me what exactly is this data type. So let me save this and run this command. So Python tells me that it is a tuple, right? So you don't have to agree with me. You can simply ask Python whether it is a tuple or not, right? So now Python says that yes, it is tuple. This is what it is. And the values that this tuple holds are Rakesh, Ritesh, Raj, and Ramesh, right? Perfect. Now, what exactly do I mean by ordered? See, as soon as in our last video also, in list also, I have told that it is ordered, and here also I'm telling that it is ordered. What exactly is this ordered means? Because as soon as we write a tuple or create a tuple, as you can see here, let me simply copy this, and inside comments I'll paste it. As you can see here, as soon as we create this tuple, each and every value gets its own unique key, right? So let's say this gets 0th key, this gets first key, this gets second key, and this is third key. And similarly, if you do negative indexing, what you will get is we'll get -1, we'll get -2, we'll get -3, we'll get -4. Okay, so this is how order is set, and this doesn't change. Okay, now there are some data types that we will come across in future videos, like sets or dictionaries, in which this kind of ordering is not available. Because let's say, whenever if I print this names now, the order will be same: Rakesh, Ritesh, Raj, and Ramesh. Again, if I print the names, again the orders will be same. So that what happens is the predictability will be there, that first Rakesh will come, and then Ritesh will come, and then Raj will come, and then Ramesh will come. The order is fixed. But what happens if this data type is unordered? What happens is, whenever we execute or whenever we print out this particular tuple, the order won't be in this particular format itself. First Ramesh will print, and then Raj will print, and then Rakesh will print, and then Ritesh will print. So something like these items will get shuffled whenever we print out or when we try to execute, and that has its own benefits. But yeah, that is called as unordered data types, and this is ordered data types. You don't have to get confused, or you don't have to hit your head on wall to understand this concept. Just understand, just for now, just know that this data type called tuple is ordered. Okay, we'll understand that later on. Once we start writing code, or once we start writing programs, then you will understand it much better, right? All right, so now we'll talk about a concept called as unchangeable. In list, what happened is, we used to directly go ahead and target a key, and we used to assign a value, so that the value used to get changed in a main list. But in tuple, it doesn't work like that. In tuple, we cannot change list. Let me copy this complete tuple here, and let's say names, let's say Ritesh or Raj, 0, 1, 2. So 2 is the key for Raj, and instead of Raj, what I need is SRK or something like that, right? So let's try to add SRK in the place of Raj. So let's assume that it has got added or whatever it is, and then let's try to print it out. We'll get an error because it doesn't change. This line will not work, because list is changeable and tuple is not changeable, and this is tuple that we are trying to change. So let me try to print names now and save it, and let me run the program, and I'll get an error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. Item assignment in the sense we are trying to edit it. So editing is not possible, or assigning a particular value to a particular key is not possible in tuples, right? So this is what we need to make a note, that tuples are unchangeable or non-changeable. Lists are changeable. List we can easily do this, perform this action, but here we cannot perform this action. So what we do is we have an alternative. So what we can do is convert this particular tuple into list. So how to convert this into list? So how to convert into list? I'll just create a new list called as L names, and then I'll create a list by using list construct function, and then pass this tuple inside this tuple called as names. Now I have a list called as L names. If you want to check, simply check, let's say print L names. Okay, so let me save it, run the program, and if you see, okay, let me first, these two are not possible, right? So let me comment it out. Okay, so save the program, run it. So now what we have done is, we, as you can see, there are square brackets. There is a square bracket, right? Rakesh, Ritesh, Raj, and Ramesh. So now what we did is we converted this particular tuple and created a new list by using a list construct function and passed this value. Which value? This tuple we have passed inside this construct value called as list construct constructor method. Yeah, and then now what I'll do is I'll change values inside this list. I can easily do that, right? So let's say if I want to add SRK in the second position, what I'll do is I'll simply use this same code, and instead of changing it in tuple, I'll change it in list. In list 2, I need, what is 2? 0, 1, and 2. So Raj I have targeted. Instead of Raj, I'll add SRK, right? So what now, what it will happen is, if I print L names and save it and run the program, instead of Raj, I have added SRK. Now this list got edited, right? So now what I'll do, I'll convert this list again back to tuple. So how to create a tuple now? I'll again use the same names, and create a tuple and pass this list inside this tuple. L names, right? So first what I did, tuple cannot be changed, so I'll create a list using that particular tuple, and then I'll change whatever things I can do. I will do it in that, and then I'll convert it back to tuple. So now if I save it, and now if I try to print names, now just see the magic. What happens is we have successfully changed the tuple as well, right? So by default, tuples cannot be changed, but we have a workaround through which we can change tuple as well. How is it possible? We create a new list, we edit that list, and we convert that list again back to tuple. This is how we can change tuple as well. So what we did, we cannot change list, technically we cannot change tuples, but there is a method through which we can convert it to list, and list can be changed, and then we can convert the list into tuple, right? This is a workaround. And let me remove this two things. Yeah, list tuples cannot be changed. This concept is clear. All right, so now tuples allow duplicates. Let's say if this is names, let's say if this is these are the items that are available inside this tuple called as names, but we can have multiple values as well, multiple same duplicate values as well. If it is Raj, I can have 2 or 3 Raj as well. Let's say after Ramesh, I can have one Raj here, right? So this way I can have multiple names, because since this is ordered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so exactly by key value pair, I can easily identify which Raj am I specifically targeting. So duplicates are allowed in this uh, tuple data type as well. Okay, so this concept is clear. And now tuple can hold any data, any type of data. See, names, you have seen names in the sense these are the strings, right? All the names are exactly strings. What is Rakesh? It is a string. Ritesh is a string. Raj is a string. So same way I can have numbers tuple. So I can have let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this way I can have numbers as well in it, and I can have Boolean tuples. See, I am using this word tuple here just to understand, just to ease of reading itself. Number tuple in the sense this is a tuple that contains number. And that doesn't mean that you need to use the same name. You can use any name, XYZ, Y, ABC, whatever it is you want to name the tuple, you can name it, right? So don't just confuse with this underscore tuple thing, right? We can name it anything. And this data type can contain Boolean information as well, like true or false or false true, right? So these kinds of data can also be we can hold in this data type called as tuple, right? And now let's move forward to a next concept called as tuple can hold just one data as well. Right now, as you can see, tuple definition is data type which is used to store multiple data in it or multiple items in it. So let's say you can say that, hey, I just have one name right now. In let's say we have a classroom, and in a classroom we just have one student, but tomorrow I can have 10 students. So I need a tuple. Obviously, I need a tuple called as students. But in today's attendance, we just need one student's name. That is because Rakesh is present. So I just need Rakesh name in this tuple. Okay. So and tomorrow if students come to class, then I can add multiple names, right, to this student tuple. Attendance, for some we are creating some attendance application in which for today's date just Rakesh is present, so I'll add just Rakesh. And tomorrow if two or more people come or two or more students come, then I'll have to add those students as well, but I need tuple. So right now, as you can see, this is a tuple, but this will throw an error. This is not a tuple. Let me, it's not a tuple because if you see, if I try to print out the data type, let me ask Python itself, type, what is the data type of students? Is it a tuple or not? So let me quickly ask and save this. Let me see the output. Python says it is a string, it's not a tuple. Oh, so I wanted to create a tuple, but I have accidentally created a string. But as you can see, I have used as you can see, I have used this round brackets as well. But then again, why does Python says it is not a tuple? Because if it is a tuple, then you need to add this comma separated value as well. As soon as you add this comma, even though if it just has one item in it, you simply need to add this comma. Should be a tuple now, right? So now if I say this is a tuple, because student data type is a tuple, before that, before I added this comma, it was string, right? So just make a note that if in case in a tuple you just have one item, then make sure you add this comma and some space right after this comma. So else the Python will simply understand that you simply have added string. It's not a tuple, right? Perfect. So I hope you understood this concept as well. So let's move to the next concept, what is called as create tuple with the constructor. We have already seen this in our earlier videos itself. Let's say if I have a names list, okay, if I have a names list, how to create list? By using this square brackets. So let's say if I have Rakesh, Ritesh, Amar, right? So these are the three names that I have, and this is a list. So but let's say if I have given a task to convert this particular list into tuple. So what I'll do, I'll simply create, first thing is I need to name a tuple, right? So names underscore tuple. Again, this can be anything. So I'm just using this underscore tuple for ease of understanding for later reference. So names tuple can be created by using this construct function called as tuple and parenthesis, and then we need to pass this value called as names list. So just pass this value names list, right, and save it. And now if you try to print names tuple, you will find that we have successfully created a tuple Rakesh, Ritesh and Amar by using this list. And same way you can create a tuple names to tuple by simply using double round brackets, and add the names Ramesh, Suresh, Ajay, whatever it is, right? So this way you can go ahead and create tuples by just values as well, or items as well, or if you have a list, then you can convert that list into tuple by using this construct function called as constructor. We call this as a constructor. What is constructor? We will see in our advanced videos. You don't have to get confused, but just now, for now, you just need to understand that by using this constructor function, we can simply create a new tuple, right? Let me try to print it out as well, names to tuple, and see if I'm right or if I got it wrong. Ramesh, Suresh and Ajay, it is a tuple as well. Perfect. So this is how we can go ahead and create tuples. And now identify the length of a tuple or number of items inside the tuple. Let's say this is a tuple called as names to tuple, and it has three items, Ramesh, Suresh and Ajay. But what if this file I don't have access to these items? Okay, so there will be multiple files, and in this file, let's say in this fourth file, I have this tuple listed, and I don't have access to this file, but I need to use that particular tuple here in this 12th chapter. So this happens when we are working in teams. Let's say first person has the access to these items, but the one who is working on these tuples don't have access. But I somehow, for some reason, I need to know how many items are there in this particular tuple. So what I'll do, I'll use this function called as length. So what is the function? Called as length. And I'll pass this name of this particular tuple called as names to tuple. That's it. Now Python will identify what is the length of this particular tuple, or let's say how many items are there in the particular tuple. So but it will understand, Python will understand, but it won't tell us. So for Python to make it tell us, we need to print the output. So print the output by using this print parenthesis, and then copy this whole thing and paste it inside print and save it, and now run the code. If you scroll down, it will tell us that you have three items in the tuple, right? We have three items, Ramesh, Suresh and Ajay. Same, let's say if I remove a particular value and now I have reduced it, so it will show me 2, right? Perfect. So this is how you identify how many items are there inside a particular tuple. Now let's go to a next topic, whether ask Python if the given special variable is a tuple or not. Yes, we have done it already before itself by using this function called as type function, right? This will identify whether the given variable is a what is the data type, is a variable or class or object, or let's say the list or tuples or dictionaries or sets, whatever it is, it will tell us. Python will tell us, right? So let's say if I want to identify what is the type of names to tuple or names tuple, then it will identify for us, but for that we need to print the output. And what is the value that we need to print out? This thing we need to print it out and see in our output. Save and see, it will tell us whether it is a tuple or not. Same thing if in case I pass, let's say print type names, because names is here, right? Names list or names list. I'll save this code, and now if I ask Python what exactly data type, it will tell us that it is a list, right? So this is how we identify whether it is a list or dictionary or set or whatever data type it is. Python will tell us by using this function called as type function, right? Perfect. So this till now we are clear. All right. So perfect. So now let's go ahead and discuss about, we are almost there. We are about to complete this concept called tuple. I know this video is slightly long, but please bear with me, because all these concepts are very important to be explained in a single video. Because what happens is, if we just simply break it out in pieces, bits and pieces, things get messed in your brain. Because once we are concentrating on a particular topic, we need to completely cover everything regarding that particular topic, so that no confusion is left regarding that particular concept. Right now we are concentrating on tuples, and we are going to concentrate on only tuples. Whatever that can be done in tuple, we'll be covering all those concepts. Now a very important concept is accessing tuples, accessing tuple values. See, in list, what we did, in list, if you remember, we have automatically, what happens is, a key value is assigned. Key is assigned, and there is a positive indexing and there is a negative indexing, right? 0 1 2 3 4 5 and 1 2 3 4 5. In tuples as well, same thing happens. If this is a tuple and Rakesh, Ritesh, Raj and Ramesh, automatically indexes are formed, and 0 1 2 3 minus 1 2 3 4, this is formed. And in case, let's say, just for example, let's say if I take this tuple value here, this is a tuple that we have. And if for our visualization, if this is a chart that we need to use, as soon as you create this tuple, this is the index of that particular tuple, right? So 0 1 2 3 and 1 minus 1 minus 2 minus 3 and minus 4. So now if in case, if you want to access this Ritesh value, if let's say if you want to access this Ritesh value, so what you can do, you can access it by its key. What is the key? Or let's say index 1 and minus 3 is the index of this particular value or item called as Ritesh. So let's say print, or let's say names square bracket, how to target a particular item by its index, we use square brackets, right? And then what is the index of this Ritesh? Let's say 1, okay? And then it is incomplete. It is targeting Ritesh, but we don't know whether it is targeting Ritesh or not. So what I'll do, I'll try to print out this value. Okay, now if I try to print this value, I should get Ritesh in the output. So I get Ritesh, right? So this is how you can access a particular item of a tuple through its key, or let's say index, right? The same thing if I had to do it by negative key. So what I can do is I can print Ritesh by using negative key. What is the negative key? It's -3. So what I'll do, print names with key, and negative key is -3. And if I save it, I should get the same value, Ritesh again. So what if I target, let's say, -2? What will happen? Any guess? If I target -2, I'll get an output called as Raj, right? So let me save it, print the output. Let's see. As you can see, we got this output called as Raj, right? We didn't do anything. Sometimes the error pops up, undefined string returns or something. You simply need to save it again and just check, right? You don't have to worry about it. So now, as soon as I targeted this, I tried to access this particular name called as Raj through its negative index. I got a right value. Same thing you can do by range as well. See, range, whenever we use range in the sense, example of a range is 1 to 2. So if you say 1 to 2 is an example, so this is a range index. So if this is the range index, then first value is included and second value is excluded. This we have, this concept we know already in our we have learned about this concept in our list as well. See, what happens is, let me try to print names, okay, through its range 1 to 3. I'll take an example 1 to 3 itself here as well, right? So what happens here is, now this code will start scanning from 1. So from what is from 1? 0 and 1. From Ritesh, the code will start scanning 1, 2 and 3, right? 1 to 3. So you will say the output will be Ritesh, Raj and Ramesh, but the output will be Ritesh and Raj only, because 3 is the index that will not be included. The second value will be excluded, right? So that means once the index is here, it will exclude this value and it will just print from 1 and 2, right? So if you want to check, save this code and run this command and scroll down, Ritesh and Raj will be printed, right? So 1, 2, 3 in the sense Ritesh, Raj only. If in case if I try to type 1 to 2, what will happen? Any guess? So in case if I try to print 1 to 2, just see 1 to 2. So second value will be excluded and just first value will be printed. Just Ritesh will get printed on the output. If you run the command now and scroll down, as you can see, Ritesh is the single value, right? Names. So this is how you can go ahead and access the items inside tuple through index, positive index, negative index, and through range. Okay, so I hope this concept is also very much clear. So you're learning a very important concept here, accessing these tuple values and identifying the data type, printing out the output and stuff like that. So you should be really proud of yourself for learning these concepts. This will, trust me, will literally help you so much when we start writing code or when we start writing logic. So please make sure you understand every bit of these concepts. Okay, so now coming to changing or editing tuples, this is the crucial aspect of this tuple in itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. You can simply pause this video here and take a 5 minutes break and then come back again. But if you have clearly understood all these concepts, now let's go ahead and try to explore this concept called as how to change or edit a tuple. Okay, so here let's say we want to replace anything inside a tuple. So let's assume that my friends is a tuple that I want to create, and I have created this tuple called as Rakesh and Vishal, Kumar, Vipul. Okay, so there are 4 friends right now, right? In this particular tuple we have 4 friends. Let's say if I want to replace this word called as or item called as Rakesh, if I want to replace it with some other name, what you will say that I have already shown this particular example here itself, the same logic I'll try to use it. So here you will say that hey, go ahead and target that particular value. My friends target this value by its index called as 0, and then assign it a special other name, whatever that comes into your mind, that is something like Santosh or something like that, right? So but that doesn't work here because it's not a list and tuples are not changeable. So what I'll do, I'll first create tuple by using the same item values. I'll create a tuple, I'll create a list, sorry. Okay, so how to create a list out of this particular tuple? I'll first have to name this my friends underscore list. So what I'll do, I'll create a tuple, I'll create a list by using this constructor function called as list and pass this argument my friends. So what does this particular line of code did here is it created a new list called as my friends underscore list by using the tuple that I have been given. So now what I'll do, I have a list called as my friends list. So now in my friends list, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and change values. So what I'll do, if you see print my friends underscore list, if you run this program now, what will happen? Rakesh, Vishal, Amar and Vipul, these are the 4 items that I have in this particular list. Okay, as you can see that we have this square brackets, right? So that this is confirmed that it is a list, not a tuple. So now what will we do here is, first thing is replacing things. How to replace things? Let me copy this comment here. So replacing can be done inside a list. So we have got our list. So let's say my friends list, targeted with a particular index called 0th index, and then I'll assign a value called as Santosh. Okay, so I'll save it. Now if I try to print my friends list, save it, as you can see that we have successfully changed the value Santosh, Vishal, Amar and Vipul, right? So now I have successfully replaced the list. Now once again, next thing what we can do here is we can add at last and at a specific location. Let's say if I have this list, I can go ahead and add it also, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply my friends list dot append parenthesis or round brackets, and then I'll try to add one more name called as Gopal. So what will happen here is this line of code will add Gopal to the last value of this particular list item. So what will happen if I try to print it out now, print my friends list and save it and check the code, I have successfully added Gopal to the last item. Now The same thing is if in case if I want to insert it, let's say my friends list dot insert in a particular value. In between Amar and Vipul, I want to add one more name. So let's say 0, 1, 2 and 3. So Vipul is 3. In place of 3, I'll add one more name, in the sense in between. So I'll use this insert function and I'll specify where I want to insert it and use comma, and then I'll add the name. Let's say if I want to add Ashwin. Okay. So if I scroll down and save it, and now if I print my friends list and save this code and run this program, what will happen is in between Amar and Vipul, I have inserted Ashwin value. I have appended Gopal. I have replaced Santosh. You're getting my point. So please note that even till now, I am just working with list. I have not converted this list back to tuple. I need to convert it back to tuple. I'll do that later on. But for now, I'll just show you how these things are done. And in case if someone asks you to remove certain parameter or some items within the list, so let's say if I have Ashwin in my list, so what I'll do, I'll in case if I want to remove something, what I need to do, simply my friends list dot remove. What you want to remove exactly, you need to specify it. So I'll need to remove Ashwin, right? So save it, and if I try to print my friends list, save, run this program, scroll down, I have successfully removed Ashwin from the list. Perfect. So now once I perform all these actions, adding, replacing, inserting, all these actions or removing stuffs in my list, final thing that I need to make sure is I need to convert this back to tuple, because this is actually a tuple, and then in tuple we need to change these things, right? So that was the main exercise. So the output, the final output should be tuple, not a list. But here, as you can see, all these things are list. So what I'll do, I'll simply create a tuple out of list. So how to create a tuple again? So I'll use this same name again. I can use other name as well, but I need to convert. The main task was to convert, change things from this tuple. So I'll use the same name, and I'll use a construct function called as tuple, because I need to create a tuple out of list. And what is the list name? My friends list is the list name. So now if I save it, and now if in case if I try to print my friends, this is a tuple, and now successfully we have converted our list into tuple. And if you see the output, we have got Santosh, Vishal, Amar, Vipul and Gopal. These values are changed. If you see, the input is Rakesh, Vishal, Amar and Vipul, but the output is something different, in the sense we have changed the values, but directly we did not get any option in Python. So what we did is we converted a tuple into list, changed or did all the operations, and then we converted the list back to tuple, right? This is the whole logic that works behind this, changing the values of tuple. And finally, if in case if you want to delete something, you simply use this keyword called as delete, and then what is exactly that you want to delete. If in case if you want to delete my friends, simply save it, and now if I try to print my friends, you will get an error because there is no value in itself. So it will be is not defined. Not defined in the sense there is nothing called as my friends. So Python got confused because we have already deleted my friends. Okay, so I'll just comment it off so that we can use this function later on in down below here as well. All right, so now you have completed or understood this most important concept, that is editing or changing or removing or deleting stuffs in tuple, right? Now let's go ahead and learn few other concepts in tuple, that they are packing and unpacking concept. What is packing? Packing in the sense nothing but just this is called packing, where we are creating a tuple. This is called packing. In the sense we are packing different data inside tuple. This is called packing. Or let's say this is called packing, where we are assigning different data types sorry, different data or different values inside a particular data type. That is what is called as packing. Okay, so what is unpacking? What exactly is this unpacking means? Let's say, let me take this names of my friends again. Here, packing is nothing but creating a tuple or packing stuffs inside tuples or list is called packing. And now unpacking means what I'll do is, this is first friend, second friend, third friend, fourth friend, right? So what I'll do, I'll create a variable first, second, third, and fourth. And now I'll assign it to my friends. So now what will happen here is, I think I should not be using this. All right, so what happens now is I have unpacked the stuff, right? So let me see if I'm right or not. Let me try to print first. So let me see what is the output. If I try to print first, I should be getting Rakesh as a value. So let me simply run this command and see, yes, I have got Rakesh as a value. And if I say, let's say print third, so what should I get? Amar is the value that I should be getting. So if I say third and save it and run this program, and I should get a value called as Amar. So what exactly is happening over here is I created these four variables and assigned it to this tuple. So what happened is these items inside this particular tuple, that is Rakesh, Vishal, Amar and Vipul, got assigned to these particular variables called as first, second, third and fourth. So what happened is unpacking happened. So while creating a tuple, what we did is we packed all these data inside a particular box called as my friends. And right now what is happening, we are unpacking it and I'm assigning these particular data to a particular box, smaller box called as first is a box which we call variable, and that box will contain a value called as Rakesh. Second is a box that we call variable and it contains a value called as Vishal. Third is a box that we call as variable and it contains a value called as Amar. Similarly, fourth will contain Vipul, right? So this way, just make sure that the number of items, the number of variables that you use to unpack should be equal to the number of values that you have inside the particular tuple, so that it gets assigned correctly. So what happens if in case, let's say this is not a case, let's say if this is not a case and we simply have first, second, okay, and if I try to unpack it to my friends, if I save it now and let's say second, so what will happen now is interesting. Right now I have unpacked it, obviously I have unpacked it, but the number of items here, number of variables here, first and second, I have just two variables, but the number of items are four. So what will happen is first value will catch its first data. First, this variable will catch its variable called as Rakesh. That is fine. But what about this second value? So this second value will catch these three data, Vishal, Amar and Vipul. So let's save it and run this program and see undetermined string return. So what happens now is we got an error. So what we need to do is we need to use a star symbol here and save it in this case, and now see what happens. Run this program. First, what is the output? The when as soon as we print out first, Rakesh is printed out. As soon as we print out second variable, Vishal, Amar and Vipul. In the sense, we use the star symbol so that whatever comes after Rakesh, please catch everything. So it created a new list. List is created as soon as you unpack it when the number of variables are less or more. Okay, so this is a concept called as packing and unpacking. Use cases, what is the use case is we get to assign variables to a particular data that is available inside the tuple, right? We are bursting it out. And there are some other use cases that you don't have to worry as of now. You simply understand this concept, what is packing and what is unpacking, right? We will see more complex applications in our later videos, but for now you just don't have to complicate this stuff, right? You simply understand what is packing and what is unpacking. In unpacking, what we do is we assign variables to a particular data items in a particular tuple, right? Now let's go ahead to our next concept, that is adding or multiplying tuples. Let's say we have a tuple called as my friends. Okay, this is a tuple, and let's say if I have my numbers, this is the second tuple. Okay, so this is these are the two tuples that I have. So let's say if I want to have my final tuple, if I want to try to add it, my friends plus my numbers, right? So if I save it and if I try to print out my number, my final tuple, save it, and let's try to run this code. What happens here is these two tuples got added, right? And this is how you can add two or more tuples with each other by using this plus symbol. It's as simple as that. And let's say if I want to multiply stuff, this might be a new concept for you. So let's say if I say my fourth tuple, just a random name, my fourth tuple is nothing but my friends multiplied by 2. And if I try to print it out, what exactly this does is my fourth tuple, we'll get a pretty logical answer here. What happens is this tuple gets doubled. So what exactly it happened is we multiplied by 2 in the sense twice. If I do this thrice, it will happen 3 times. It will get repeated. The data gets added 3 times. Rakesh, Rakesh, Rakesh. All these values gets tripled, right? So this is how multiplication works. So I hope you understood this concept as well. Now there are two methods that we can use in tuples to play around. See, what is this count method? Count method in the sense, let's say there is this value called as Vishal in this particular tuple called as my friends. Okay, so let's say if I have Vishal 3 times here as well, and after Vipul as well, because tuples can have duplicate values. So let's say I have this value called as Vishal 3 times. So if someone asks me, hey, tell me, this is a tuple called as my friends, and they will not show me this particular data items in it, okay, and they'll simply say check if how many times Vishal, the item called as Vishal, is available inside this particular tuple. So what I'll do is my friends tuple dot count parenthesis, and then I'll pass this argument called item called as Vishal. So what this line of code will do is it will check how many times the item called as Vishal is available inside this tuple called as my friends. So what happens now is if I try to print the whole thing out, copy this everything and I'll put it inside this parenthesis. and save, and I'll check. I'll ask Python, so it will tell me that Vishal is available twice. Okay. So, but we have it for 3 times. Hmm. Okay, so we have done a mistake over here. So we haven't added comma. So it is considering the whole thing as one, just one part. Okay, so now I have added comma. Now I need to see again. So Vishal is available 3 times. The item called as Vishal is available 3 times in our tuple called as my friends. This is what this count method is used for. And let's say I want to know what is the index of this particular item called as Amar. If someone asks me, hey, tell me what is the index of a value called as Amar inside a tuple called as my friends. So what happens here is my friends dot index. What is the index that I need to find for what value? Amar. So for that, what I'll do, I'll copy this entire thing and put it inside print function. Okay, and save it and run this command. So what will happen now is I got this index value 2. So what does this mean? It is in the third position. 0 1 2. 2 is the second, is the index of this particular item called as Amar, right? So I hope you understood what exactly we use count method, why we exactly use index method, right? So I hope you have clearly understood till now what exactly is this tuple. And then finally check if the item or data is available inside a tuple or not. For this I need to explain you what is if statement, what is else statement, and stuff like that, but for now you simply understand that let's say if I have this I have this tuple, right? My friends is a tuple. Let's say if this is a tuple that I have been given, and if someone asks me to check if a value called as Rakesh is available in tuple called as my friends. Simple. Print. Yes, it's yes. Value Rakesh is available. Else, okay, we will not read about else for now. So let's say if Rakesh is present in friends, then print yes, the value is available. Yes, the Rakesh is available. Don't worry about the syntax, this colon and stuff like that. We use this keyword called as in to check whether a value called as Rakesh is available inside tuple or not, right? If a value, if it is not present, then we can print some other output. But for that, we will tell you, you will have to understand what is if and else statement. Don't worry about it as of now. We'll learn about if and else statement in our later videos, right? So once we complete our dictionary and set, these two concepts are left. Once we complete our dictionaries and once we complete what is sets, then we will enter into if else statement, loops, and function, lambda, and stuff like that, right? So thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions regarding tuples, please let me know, and please make sure that you save this complete file for your future reference as well. Whenever you find any, whenever you think you want to refresh your concept, you can just come back here and clear your refresh your concepts regarding tuples. Okay, so these concepts are extremely important while interview or stuff like that. They'll ask you more these kinds of basic questions, and trust me, once we start working on projects and stuff like that, we tend to forget these foundational concepts. So make sure you save this file as well. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me in the comment section, and ask me questions if you get or stuck somewhere while practicing these examples, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video with one more concept in Python, right? Thank you. Have a great day.